Playing great music along with the local weather, news and the odd touch of quirkiness. You're with Stephen on Shoalhaven's Community Radio, Triple U 104.5 FM.
And it's bang on 5:30 here on Tuesday Drive, and that was Panic at the Disco with High Hopes. Now, my guest today is a resident from Juroa and just on the tip of our broadcasting area, and I've had the pleasure of speaking with him on a number of occasions with his work on Veterans Affairs. Glenn Kolomeitz joins me today. He's just picked up a rather prestigious accolade, the Premier's Community Service Award, for his tireless work in our community. And I'd like to welcome him now to Tuesday Drive, and congratulations, Glenn.
G'day, Stephen, and thanks very much, mate.
Absolute pleasure. Hey, tell us about this Premier's Award.
Mate, it's a bit of a shock, but it's an award that was arranged by Gareth Ward, by our member, our state MP, through the Premier, and it recognised a couple of things. Recognised, like I say, it's a bit of a shock, but recognised some of the work I did in firstly opening the can at RSL New South Wales, and then working towards fixing the problems, and some other work I did getting some legislation through in the child the child protection area, concealing child sexual offences and things. So yeah, like I say, a big honour and quite a surprise.
How did you find out about it?
Gareth gave me a ring and said, mate, what are you doing next week? I thought, I've got a few things on, but why? He said, well, I've got an award for you from the Premier. And I went, okay, well, let's make a time. And and he presented it to me out at Wollongong Uni, where I was doing some stuff. I think it was yesterday or today. Yesterday.
It's all running into one now, is it?
Say again?
Your days are all running into one, are they?
Yeah, they're pretty busy, mate.
Actually, I've got to say, I was slightly amused when I discovered that it was being awarded by, I guess you could say, your former political foe, Mr. Kaima MP Gareth Ward. Was he civil when he presented you the award?
Say again?
Was he very civil to you when he presented the award? Was it all smiles?
Mate, Gareth and I are mates.
Oh, good.
We fought a very hard, very, very, very hard campaign back in 2015, but also a very clean campaign. And all policy-based, entirely policy-based, lots of debates and lots of public forums. And we came out the other end mates. And quite frankly, he's been very supportive of me in that RSL fight. And he helped me get the child protection legislation, submissions in front of the Attorney General and the Police Minister. So he's been very helpful, and he was quite instrumental in a lot of this legislative change that I've been working on. Yeah.
Just in regards to this, passing the legislation, how difficult was it to make it happen, Glenn?
The child protection stuff. It was. I originally tried to get it, but being a former member of the Labor Party, I tried to get it through in New South Wales through the opposition, and the Shadow Attorney General didn't really want to speak to us about it. So I went to Gareth, and with the person I was working with was Reverend Bob Cotton, who's a minister from up Maitland Way, and a couple of survivors of institutional abuse. And we went to Gareth, and Gareth put us before the Attorney General and the Police Minister. Now, originally, we gave them my submissions, and we had them listen to these survivors and listen to Reverend Cotton, and they eventually quite quickly passed the concealed child sexual offence legislation, which is what we were after. But they watered it down so that the penalty wasn't adequate. So we then did some more submissions and some more research and went back to them, and they very quickly agreed. Okay, it was a good law, but they needed to up the ante, give it a greater deterrent effect by making it an indictable offence, so a 5-year maximum penalty, which they did. So we had two. It wasn't easy. It's never easy, but we had two little fights, and we eventually got exactly what's needed in New South Wales to protect our kids and others in institutions.
And how long did it take you to work on all this?
A couple of years in total. Fortunately, I had, as I say, Reverend Bob Cotton doing an enormous amount of work, getting petitions and things behind the scenes, and some of the survivors themselves were working on the submissions and helping me with the legal research, etc. And so it took a couple of years in total, but once we got it through, like I say, Gareth was enormously supportive. And indeed, the Attorney General, he gave us a very critical ear, as he should, being the highest lawmaker in the country, in the state. He listened, and he went away and gave it some further thought, and eventually he supported us both in passing the offence, but creating the offence, and then in giving it the proper penalty.
Now, Glenn, for those who don't know you, you're a lawyer yourself. Was this instrumental in sort of helping you get these laws passed?
I definitely, the legal skills definitely help. But what also helps is the fact that I'm a former political staffer, so it's good to know the political process.
Right, yes.
I was only a staffer for a year, but nonetheless, and the candidate, so it's good to know the political process. I was very lucky. Again, I had Reverend Bob Cotton, who was just the public face of this issue, just fantastic. And these survivors, these remarkable men who survived this stuff as kids, institutional abuse as kids, and are now working with us to take the fight up. So, I had a lot of support around me, and so the legal skills definitely help when you're trying to have legal submissions put up, of course.
Now, and for those that you worked with, the ones that had actually suffered this firsthand, was it difficult for them to help you?
It was. Now, a couple of them, we met with the AG and a couple of other ministers on a number of occasions, with Gareth, of course, and a couple of them, on occasion, only one would come along because the other one or two would just be finding it too hard. But we always had at least one with us. So of the 3 or 4 we were working with, we always had at least one. So it was definitely very hard for them. But mind you, they were in the gallery at Parliament House when the legislation was passed, and then when the amending legislation to up the penalty was passed, and that was very good for them to see this fantastic deterrent legislation actually passed in the Parliament with them present in the gallery. So that was so good for them to see that, I think. But definitely hard for them. It could not have been easy for any of them.
Now, I believe you're also working on some drone warfare. Is that right? What is that?
It's interesting. When I was in Afghanistan with special operations, this is all public record, so I can say it publicly. I was involved, one of only a handful of Australians to be involved in targeting, senior insurgents using US Predator or Reaper drone assets, so aerial drone assets. And so I did one of those strikes. I was the lawyer on one of those strikes. So this was brought to the attention of Wollongong Uni, some very senior academics out there, and they were interested in this space as well. So they asked me to come along and get involved in some of this research. So I've now got a research fellow out there. I've got a little office out there, and we're trying to progress this multidisciplinary research into drone warfare. It's really cutting edge stuff for Wollongong, but for this country.
What do you mean by that? Why is it cutting edge? Because
we're looking at the trajectory that the development of what they call autonomous weapon systems. Drones is a bit of a misnomer because it's land-based, land, air and sea drones. So it's autonomous weapon systems. As they become more autonomous, so less human input into the targeting decision and the decision to prosecute, so in other words, to shoot, essentially. They're researching the trajectory that this technology is taking, and how we can firstly have an ethical component built into that machinery as it evolves, but also how we can make it more compliant and how we can get ahead of the curve in terms of international law, to ensure that this stuff, as it evolves very rapidly, it remains lawfully compliant with international law, and therefore ethical. So it's an amazing piece of research, and some of the people I've been dealing with out there at Wollongong in the engineering space and the legal space, just remarkable people.
I've got to say, I don't know a lot about drone warfare. I guess I'm probably just know the basics, like most people do. And I've always, I guess, myself been challenged by how does a drone make that ethical decision of what to target and what not to target. I mean, is that?
Yeah. Well, right now they're what's known as human in the loop. So the weapon can be launched. They're launched, in our case, they were launched out of Kandahar in Afghanistan, but driven out of Nevada in the States. Right? So, and it does its stuff in Afghanistan. The weapon itself is launched, flies out there, but there's supposed to be a human pushing the button at some stage going, yep, launch the Hellfire, launch the weapon. As autonomy evolves, the human is taken more out of the loop, and the decision to actually launch the weapon, more of that is being gradually given to the weapon itself. So it'll get to the stage. This isn't happening yet, but the Israelis have some equipment now which can do that. The machine itself can make the decision to launch the weapon, and that has enormous implications. Obviously, legal, ethical, moral. It's raining very heavily. You can probably hear it. But
yes. Hopefully, on that way.
Yeah, but so as the technology is evolving very, very rapidly, and we have to, as a nation, not bury our heads in the sand, but be ready to address that from the legal and ethical perspective. And and see how we can ensure that this stuff complies with the law of armed conflict.
Well, Glenn, I would dare say that is another big conversation for another day when it comes to drone warfare. Look, I don't have much time left, but I'm interested. You're at some music lessons at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, my little bloke, we're at Hayworks at Albion Park. My little bloke's been having his guitar lesson, and my little girl does drums here.
Oh, drums and guitar! Wow.
He's a little rocker. He's got his electric. He's progressed from an acoustic to an electric to a little Fender. So yeah, they're little rockers, my kids.
Oh well, here's one last big question for you, Glenn. Now, we've gone from drone warfare, and the big question I've been asking today is we've just lost Luke Perry, who of course was from the stars of Beverly Hills 90210. You got a favourite TV show from the 90s at all?
It was one I liked.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I have to say, and I was in the army back then, so I couldn't say it too loudly because I probably wouldn't have been, my soldier mates probably wouldn't have been too keen, but I did watch it discreetly. It was a pretty good show, hey?
Hey, well, maybe you can get the kids to learn the theme song and the drum and the guitar there.
Well, they're right into AC/DC at the moment.
Oh, well, even better.
I'll put it to them, but they're a bit more heavy metal than that.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly a heavy metal theme song, was it? The old theme?
Not really, no.
Oh dear. Hey, Glenn, look, thanks so much for speaking with me today on Tuesday Drive, and I've got very big congratulations again on the award. Very well deserved.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. And that was the former CEO of RSL New South Wales and lawyer Glenn Kolomeitz, who's received the Premier's Community Service Award at the University of Wollongong. Such a wonderful achievement. I know that he won't be slowing down anytime soon.
Tuesday Drive.